Hi guys, welcome to Stretty News TV. Preview of the West Brom game. I'm going to go straight to it really. There's a lot of people watch us but don't actually tweet us or get any questions in, and I think this is partly because we spent some time in the middle of the season not doing them. So it's there, the Twitter handle. Give us a tweet or stick some comments in the comment box below, and we'll get the lads to have their say on your questions. Today I'm Joan, yeah. Bill Jones is here as well, apparently. I'm joined by Joe. Welcome back, Joe. How are you doing, pal?
Yeah, I'm not bad. It's good to be back on.
Yeah, especially against the West Brom game. And I know that you were missing my face since it's been a while since we had a home game. And we've also been joined by Darren as well. How are we doing, Darren?
I'm good. Good man, yeah.
Looking forward to the game. Oh,
yeah, it should be good.
Pigeon spotting.
Courtesy of Chevrolet.
Yeah. I'd like to see that Chevrolet have arranged some free tickets for myself, and I've invited Darren along, so we're going to watch the game together. We're pretty cool against West Brom. I thought Joe was going to pick up. I normally stood next to Joe, so I've pretty much got my best two best ticket holders to go with to the game on one show. Anyways, guys, just a little bit of a sort of a review back to the I was going to say Chelsea game, but that's because I've not spoke to you two since the Chelsea game. But I think we'll go back to the Everton game for a couple of minutes. What was your first thoughts about the Everton game? Any sort of real disappointment in it? Me and Jonathan were coming up the other night on Monday or Tuesday night when we did the review, and I was a bit disappointed with it, but he seemed to be like taking it with the breeze. And I don't know if that was just a general fan reaction or just because he went to the game and United fans were still, singing and cheering even down to the 90th minute. So, what were your thoughts on the Everton game, Darren?
I think you just summed up loads of games we've seen this season. I mean, we dominated possession, and we just could not do anything in the final third. There were not enough shots on target. There was no strikers. Obviously, no strikers were having a go at net, having a go on goal, and it just summed it up. It goes back to the West Brom game at the start of the season. We're all over West Brom, and then they get two chances, and they take them. And that's what we need to be doing. I mean, we saw it against Southampton and we saw it against Arsenal where we beat them away, where they were all over us and we took our chances, but it was just complete opposite for us against Everton. We were all over them and we just didn't take any chances at all.
Yeah, but I think they were quite compact, Everton. They were quite well controlled, well drilled, and you sort of, in a respect, you sort of went, well, natural fact, fair play to you, because it's pretty much they played on the counter attack. They'd seen United have been dominating possession, dominating the way that we've played all season. So that that was pretty much a decent tactic, which is quite scary really, because Martinez has got it wrong at times this season. And they've had an off season, haven't they? Really, Everton.
Yeah. I mean, we saw they were clumsy in defence. They were panicking. They were oofing the ball out, and it was going as far as the halfway line just for us to attack again. And there was a perfect chance for Fellaini to make it 1-1. And as soon as he skied it, he just thought it's going to be one of them games.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those sort of games when he did that. Joe, your thoughts on the Everton game, pal?
Well, you said about Everton playing compact, and that's, I think, you said credit to them for doing that, but to me that seems worrying that after, what has it been? It was about 4 games of great football where we were dominating matches. It's only taken that long for teams to figure out how to play against us again. So the test of Van Gaal now is seeing if he can work a way around that, or is it going to go back to how it was just after Christmas, playing some seriously crap football at times and not having any results, having all that possession and no goals to show for it. We've played, since I last saw you, and we've played 2 games of football and haven't scored a goal, which is, I know we've gone to Chelsea, we've gone to Everton, 2 of the hardest places to go, but as a Manchester United team, you should still be going and expecting to score goals wherever you go.
Yeah, I think I was going to say it was before the Chelsea game that we've last seen each other, and I think in both, which the thing was both really was quite scary. Was the fact that we had opportunities like Darren's mentioned, the Fellaini chance in the Everton match. Rooney had the chance that we all thought, well, me and Darren thought when we was down in Old Trafford Sports Club watching that Chelsea match. But yeah, we thought that gone in the back of the net, and those two sort of vital sort of goals that didn't happen could have been a completely different turning point in each match, really. So. But yeah, I think you just said it there. Like there's 4 games where we've played 4 or 5 games where we've played a decent standard of football, and the performance has been brilliant. And then all of a sudden, someone's figured out how to play against us. Is that now a worry? With West Brom coming back to Old Trafford, or do you just think it was a one-game blip?
Well, when you look at Pulis, and he's the master of compact football, isn't he? So I think this weekend could be a test to see how well possession football works. If we can break down a team like West Brom, with no disrespect to them, but the type of team that signed Darren Fletcher and made him the captain straight away. Fair enough, he's got leadership and all that, but they are not a great team by any stretch. It's different going and playing at Chelsea and playing against a great team who will take you on the counter like Hazard did, but will we be able to break down a compact West Brom team at home?
Yeah, I think it's a bit scary because I was gonna run through lineups from each of you tonight, and because I think there's been a couple of injuries since we had that run of like games where we've been able to play pretty much the same 11. We've now had a run of games where we've had a couple of injuries, and that may shake things up. And I think that should be shaking things up, and it should also be giving those players that are going to now get a chance, say, especially for instance, Di Maria, in my opinion, because he was bought for the club. He's now got to try and earn his place. And for me, and I said it in the review for Everton the other day. He's got to be able to put himself back in that left position and take Ashley Young out of that position because that's where he should be playing football. But I just don't understand. Like there's Falco, who potentially could be, he could be playing for he could be playing for a contract and his permanent move basically to United because. This is going to be. I think this is going to be. This could be a key game. We've got rumours that pretty much that Rooney won't return for the rest of the season now. Van Persie scores a brace against, and I know it's only Fulham's under 21s, but he does quite well to get himself on the score sheet twice, 2 decent goals. But he got that. The difference when I watched it the other day is he got some supply. There was the supply through the middle. There was it, and I know this is on the only 21s level. But the supply actually came from United's under 21s in the likes of Pereira and Rothwell, and they were putting balls through for Van Persie to get on the end of. So it wasn't. And I know you could take a back seat and say, oh, it's only under 21s, should be performing at that level. But strikers are only good as getting the ball to their feet or getting their ball to the chest. And I think really Falco suffered pretty much in the Everton game. From that a lot, and it's not an excuse for him, unfortunately. He could have another terrible game against West Brom, and we'd all go, right, well that's enough of that. Send him back to Monaco at the end of his loan, and we'll see if we can find someone else. But the thing that was strange about Falcao for that Everton match was he was coming into the midfield. He was doing what Rooney used to do, just run into the midfield to collect the ball. So pretty much we had a touch of the ball, and I thought that's the frustrating thing about that game. And you've said Pulis and West Brom. I'm not entirely sure where West Brom are on the table. I think have they got further down the table? Are they now in the relegation dogfight? 15. So it's not.
Be okay.
Go on. You think they'd be okay? Well, I thought Leicester had won last night after they scored the first, and I thought if they hold on for bloody the next 45 minutes, then they're up to what they would do was up to 16th, and I thought, there you go, So I think it's quite tight down there at the bottom still. So the Pulis I think Pulis and West Brom have got to probably set up to come to Old Trafford and gain a point. How you do that, do what Everton did without the counter-attacks and just play for a 0-0 draw. It's particularly boring Premier League football to me, but that could be the point that sees them safe for the next, I know that they've got the same games as us, like they've got another 3 games after that, but a point or a couple of points, and that's them home and dry for this season. But what's your thoughts on West Brom then, Darren?
West Brom, again, I think what you think. I think they're going to come at least for a draw. They're going to put up shop and just defend. But I think we're going to go with an attacking lineup. I actually think we're going to go for it. Van Gaal wants to get 3 points. For the last 4 games, he wants to get 3 points out of every single one of them, because second place is still up for grabs. If City and Arsenal drop points, I mean, Arsenal have still got to come to us. City have got Spurs at the weekend, which I don't think is going to be an easy task for them, because White Hart Lane's been a tricky ground for any team this season. But I think we're gonna set up attacking from the outset, and if we can get that early goal, then I think we'll dominate it. Because I think the last 2 games, although we've lost against Chelsea and Everton, we have dominated, and I think we will go all attacking on Saturday.
Yeah, it's just, I don't have a sort of thing against us attacking. I just think that if they're going to do a proper Chelsea park the bus top situation. And although Everton it's a bit of a harsh one, isn't it, really? Because Everton have got a team that can park the bus. They've got decent, experienced players in there. And you was mentioning that the Fletcher moved to West Brom, and it's pretty much because that's a decent honour for him to get captain, Joe. But is it really is he the sort of leader that's going to help them just get over that line? To be honest, in actual fact, he's probably the perfect sort of person that you want in that captain's role, because he's been at United for so many years, and we're not getting over the line. We're not getting over the line and battling that we keep ourselves away from relegation point. We've never been in that situation. But getting over the line, as in, we'll have the same mentality if you're getting over the line at winning a championship, championship at the end of a league season. That's the sort of same mentality. So is Fletcher a real key to their running then, Joe?
Well, when you see it past, I watched a couple of the games, and Fletcher does seem to play a big part in it. He's almost the star man there, whereas he wasn't here. But when they come to Old Trafford on Saturday, like Darren said, they're going to defend. But we saw in the game earlier in the season 2-2 draw that they do have a counter-attacking option in Berahino. That goal where he went clear and Raphael was pulling a Sunday League trick of shouting in his ear to try and catch up with him. That shows that they have got a counter-attacking threat, and I can see them getting a goal on the counter, because I do think Van Gaal's going to go very attacking with this, going for a win. And depending on who we put at the back, it could leave us a bit open again. And I think the last thing we need is to concede early, because then their attacking outlet will go and they'll play every man behind the ball. And whether that'll be able to be broken down I wouldn't be too sure of.
Yeah, I think you could be. The Berahino, obviously, he did call us Raphael right backs, and I was just having a nosy through the net there. West Brom's only injury is to Ben Foster. They've got a full squad selection at the moment, so they're in the better position than we are, because considering the fact that we've got probably the likes of Jones, Rojo out at the back. You obviously got Rooney up front, attacking threat out. So we've got to sort of. It might be these team selections off you in a few minutes, guys. It's going to be quite fun to be able to figure out who's going to be that. Like you say, you've got in the attacking, Joe. It's going to be quite interesting to see that. And I do feel that we want to go and attack them. and we should be dominating them. But for me, I think the most disappointing thing was Louis van Gaal would be performance, because we gave a performance against Chelsea, and everyone was quite happy with the fact that we gave that performance despite the loss. But apart from that, who have we got that's going to break it's going to break that sort of mould and give us a performance worthy of winning the game? Because it could be, like you say, it could come down to who can break West Brom, and that could be just down to one person. Is Di Maria going to actually finally wake up and be able to put in the sort of performance that we wanted to put in? He sort of the same sort of performance as he did against Leicester. And I know I've mentioned Leicester far too many times this season, but his performance against Leicester was superb. But his performance against Leicester was on the left wing. That might be the reason why.
Well, that's what he should be doing for the best part of 60 million. He should be destroying teams that, with the greatest amount of respect, but can't be described as anything more than what should be cannon fodder for United. Teams like Leicester and teams like West Brom. It should be the signings that are destroying them teams. Fair enough. When people ask what has he done in a big game, but when you think back to 2009, the big game players were always Darren Fletcher and Ji-Sung Park, not the big names of Ronaldo and Rooney and Tevez. So big game players I can understand, but against these smaller teams, that's when you want all these, what they call the Van Gaal Galacticos or whatever it was that the press coined, but they should be Di Maria. If he gets played on the left and still doesn't perform against West Brom, then for that I couldn't see an excuse really.
It's one of them as well. Whenever you talk about Di Maria, we always talk about the Leicester game. It was back in September. We've not been able to compare another game about regards to Di Maria other than Leicester. I mean, all right, he's give a couple of good assists like the one against Arsenal in the Cup and stuff like that, but nothing else has really massively stood out for me. So I think he does need to give a performance if he does start on Saturday, and like you said, earn his place in the team, because he keeps getting left on the bench at £60 million.
Yeah, I was going to actually, before we come on to team selections, I wanted to have a bit of a debate about Fellaini, to be honest, because that Everton performance wasn't anything wrong, and obviously he missed his chance when he did. But his head wasn't seemed to be in that game at all, because he got dragged so far into midfield and in with the Everton challenges that's where he picked up his yellow card, and then he got irate, and Louis van Gaal did what any other manager up and down the country would have done with a player at that situation, was had to take him off at half time. Now that's a decision that you don't really want to do, because later on in the game, 70 minutes comes up, Mata goes off after not really being able to do what he would do for Di Maria. Di Maria comes on, and instead of doing what he did, and we're going back to that Leicester game in September, which is whip balls in from the left-hand side, he comes in on the right-hand side, and then he starts whipping balls in towards the back post, where Fellaini would be, and there was nobody there, and it happened 3 or 4 times, and you thought, well, come on, guys, this is pretty easy to defend against. It's pretty much Sunday League tactics if you're going to stick the ball in the bloody area and hope that someone gets on the end of it. I think Ashley Young was the only person that got on to the end of one cross, and I was like, this is just not what United should really be doing. So yeah, does Fellaini come straight back in for you, Joe? Or, is it... No, you've muted yourself, Paul. That doesn't work.
There before the game, with Fellaini, because part of his partnership has been working with that midfield, which, when we go through the lineups, I've changed again. I wouldn't have him in my team for this week. I watched that under-21s game, and I think the amount of talent that could come through, because after Liverpool's result on Tuesday night, quite happily say that I think top four's near enough done and dusted, barring the shouting. We need it's 6 points to make sure, but Liverpool have still got to play Chelsea. I think they've still got to play. So they've still got to play another good team. So I think now would be the time I'd give some of the younger players a chance, like Pereira. I'd have him in behind Van Persie up front, and Fellaini dropped to the bench for me.
Yeah, we'll go on to starting 11s then, and we'll start with Darren. You've had enough notice. Have you finished fixing? Probably everybody else won't have seen it before. Since half his house was falling down about a couple of minutes ago, I'm not entirely sure what was going on. I hope you've put the pictures back on the wall or whatever was going on, pal.
Yeah, my cat. I've got like some bar doors, and my cat invaded it and just flew them open. So, right, going on to starting 11. I'll probably go with, obviously, it all depends on the press conference tomorrow, regards to where we are for injuries. But we're obviously going to go with De Gea, Valencia, Smalling. Hopefully, Rojo or Jones might be back, but if not, McNair and Shaw staying back four as we had against Everton. And I think he's going to go with Di Maria and Young on the wings. I'm hoping to see that because, like I said, I think he's going to go attacking with Blind and Herrera in the middle, and I think Mata's going to play behind either Falcao or Van Persie. I think he's going to give him a chance. Obviously, Rooney's, like you said, Rooney might be out for the season. I think he's going to give Mata the chance in his desired position.
So Mata comes in at number 10 with Darren there. Yeah, does that mean that Young now sticks on the left and we see Di Maria playing cut inside though, Darren, from the right?
I mean, it depends. I mean, obviously we've seen it loads of times where they switch sides during a game. So I think Di Maria will start on the right because that's where Van Gaal likes to play him, and keep Young on that left because it's worked out pretty well for him all season. But I think we'll see a switch on sides throughout the game.
Yeah, it could be a bit of a mix-up. I'd hope that we actually do mix it up. And because I've been saying this, and I've been actually meaning to actually get a compilation of clips of Di Maria he plays on the right, because some of it you just go, oh, what are we doing? Just aimlessly putting balls across the box for nobody to get on the end of. Who did you end up with up front then, Darren? Oh, sorry.
I've gone with Falcao. I think he'll start Falcao.
It was Joe that was talking about youth game, so I'll ask Joe that question. We'll see if Joe comes up with Van Persie in his team. Go on then, Joe. Go with your team.
I've gone for De Gea in goal. I would have been tempted to go with Valdez because the Everton game, and commented on by a few people I follow on Twitter, that might only whisper it, but De Gea didn't look all there in my opinion. He didn't look as interested as he has done in previous weeks. I don't know if they said it. This will all be to do with the transfer speculation, but I'd still go with De Gea in goal. Valencia I'd keep in the team purely for the fact we've got no one to replace him. If there was any other serious alternative, he'd be out after last week. And I've Smalling at the back with Rojo if he's fit, and we'll find out tomorrow. If not, I don't know what the availability is of Evans if he's got over his spitting ban yet, but I'd go back with Evans in the team, not as a long-term thing. Just maybe try and boost his price up for the summer if we can get any money for him. Go for Shaw at left back. I'd then have Blind on the bench instead because I think his pace got found out against Everton. I'd go with McNair and Herrera in midfield. Then with Pereira playing just in front of him, and Di Maria, Mata and Van Persie up front.
As I was going to say, so McNair comes, and he likes to do this. I've seen him play this in the youth team. He just seems to play out from the back, and he did that quite successfully against Everton. So you've got him as holding midfielder in midfield there, and you've brought in Pereira, who I thought had quite a decent game for the under 21s the other day. So a lot of people might go, what's he on about? Who? Why? But yeah, I think that we should, in actual fact, be putting in sort of players like that. I don't see why not with Pereira, to be honest. So that again.
If we're going to bring in these players, it'd be now, surely. give them a chance to see what they can do before we go out and spend another so many million in the summer.
It's true. It's true. You was talking there about Valencia at right back. There's a place there for McNair, if you ask me. He played there for the reserves one or two times. Did quite well at right back, considering. Obviously, Smalling, Jones, not Jones. Jones is injured, possibly. Who was I thinking of? Evans, I think, is actually only 7 games banned now. But I wouldn't really put him straight back into a team. If Evans was that much that Louis van Gaal wanted him to play, he would have put him in that reserve match on whatever day it was, Tuesday or Wednesday night, wouldn't he? Surely, because that's the sort of game to get him straight back into match fitness. Because it's fine that the fact he's not injured, but 7 weeks worth of not playing football competitively is a different sort of kettle of fish.
The only thing he's had it at times for Northern Ireland, and that's it. So
yeah, it's a perfect opportunity really. Then was that Fulham game at the 21 level to stick him in, because that would have indicated to me that he would start this weekend. So maybe if you was really disappointed with Valencia's performance, and Louis van Gaal didn't think that he wanted to play, he didn't want to put him in that position, you put McNair in right back, and does Tyler Blackett get a call up then? You mentioned Pereira. Blackett obviously started the season and did quite well. Does he get a run out?
I wouldn't want to put Blackett in. I mean, he's not the worst, but he's not the best either. He just lacks experience for me, and it's same bracket as Johnny Evans. You always feel a bit nervous when you see him on the team sheet, and you just think what's going to happen here. But I think
But you don't get experience without playing, though, Darren. That's entirely the bloody point of putting in the likes of him. I think if I was the suggested started lineup on whoscored.com is De Gea, Valencia, McNair, Smalling, Shaw. Blind goes back in his where he played, and I didn't really understand that performance against Everton from Blind, because that's where he started the season, and he wasn't doing too badly. He used to mop up everything that went towards Thingy. He was out position constantly. He was being out muscled when they countered. He was diving in at challenges. He just sort of seemed to be having a match all on his own against 11 men. It just seemed. So it's a bit of a strange one. You'd hope that Fletcher's not going to come along and say, right, we'll do a job on him again. And we'll boss them. We'll boss just in front of their back three. You know, Berahino, like you said, is pretty decent. You've got Ancheby as well, who's not the worst of strikers. You know, he can score. So I think that it's going to be quite a difference to see if Blind starts. Then whoscored.com, I've got Young, Herrera, Fellaini, and Mata. So there's not really much change in this, and then Falco up front, who's dingy. So, Joe, did you finished with Di Maria, not Di Maria up top, Van Persie up top, didn't you?
Yeah, I went with Van Persie because
Yeah.
I watched that under-21s game, and not only was his finishing good, but you sit behind me at Old Trafford and you understand how earlier in the season how much I slagged him off for his willingness, like how we wanted to play for the shirt. He didn't seem interested, but when you watch that under-21s game the other night, he seemed to be enjoying football again, which I don't know if that's because he's been out injured or maybe because he's the star man in the under-21s, whatever you want to call it. But he seemed interested again.
Yeah, I was going to say I watched that, and he did seem to be chasing the ball about quite much. He picked up a bit of a knock at one point and sort of got off, and I can't remember who was on commentary on MUTV the other night, but this was like, oh, he's heading down the tunnel, he's gone. He didn't. He was just waiting himself on one side of the pitch, wanted to come back on, and got back on, got on with it. it was only after his second goal that he got substituted off. So it just seemed like he had the willingness to play. But with United, go on.
I was going to say, I think it would be good to see Van Persie start as well, because when you were talking about Falcao before, I think Van Persie's got a point to prove as well. A lot of people have been saying all season, he's past it, he'll be leaving at the end of the season. I don't think he'll want to end that way. I mean, if he is going, he's still got a point to prove to other clubs, or he wants to make a point at United if he wants to get a new contract and stay at United. So, if he played well against in the under-21s, so he might well get a chance. But I can see Falcao starting, but because I just think Van Gaal favours him.
I think you've got to sort of. Yeah, he has got a point to prove, because he's another one that's under his contracts. I think that's the sort of tipping point that we've got with Falcao, is the fact that it's a decision at the end of the season that's got to be made. Whereas, for instance, with the likes of Van Persie and with Di Maria, is that they've got to pick up their performances to be able to play in that shirt, to start in that shirt. And that, for me, is what's always been part of United as a club, is that everybody wants to play for the shirt, wants to perform really well, and that's how Sir Alex, as we have to go back to, motivated United players superbly for 26 years. So I think that is the tipping point with the Falcao situation, is that United don't necessarily have to go out and buy him. They don't have to spend money on him. They can just say, right, you can go back to Monaco. But in that situation, if you're Falcao and you want to stay at Manchester United, I think he's a really nice guy. Me and Darren have both met him. He seems a really nice guy, proper laid back. Seems to enjoy being at United. Going back to Monaco, obviously, would be a step backwards. So is his mindset now, right, well, I have to fight for my place, or at United, and I fight for United to sign me, and prove that I have got something and I can improve after thatwards, into next season? Or is it that I do this on my own personal level and I put myself in the shop window, because at the end of the day, United might say, well, we're not going to buy you. You're going to go back to Monaco, and then he's got to put himself in the shop window, because, and I've got no disrespect to Monaco, but a player of Falcao's quality is going to want to start playing Champions League football next season, and that's entirely, possibly why he wanted to be at United, because despite us having no Champions League football this season, he knew that there was a challenge there to get back to Champions League football. United have got Champions League football next season, so he's probably going to want to go to a club that will play Champions League football next season. So it's like a proper, really sort of tipping point situation with Falcao. So it's going to be interesting to see who really does start up front. We're going to end quite quickly. I've had no texts, tweets at all. Nobody's tweeted us asking us any questions. I've had no comments on Believe. This is superb. You guys just want to watch us talk about United. And I can only make up so many questions for the guys on a weekly basis without, churning out blind date questions or moving on to mastermind questions or something other. Otherwise, we won't be able to fill bloody time in, would we? Anyways, predictions. Go on, Joe.
I'll go with
Prediction, Paul.
2-0 United.
He's going 2-0. Darren?
Well, I think with a moral boost of us winning the best pitch in the Premier League for this season, I think we're going to take advantage of that. I think we'll go 2-0 as well.
Moral boost of us winning. Didn't that what's McCall? Wasn't that on the same level as didn't we jointly win that with Arsenal at the Emirates?
Yeah, it's like one of them. We get to keep the trophy for 5 months. They get to keep it for 5 months. So it's like when you win a cup game at school or something, and you all take it in turns to take the trophy back.
I thought you only did that with hamsters at one point. Oh, depends on how good at football you were at school, I possibly mean. So it's 2-2 from the guys. Well, not 2-2, 2-0 from each of those guys. I'm going to put my neck on the line, as I always do, and say we will win. I'm going to go for 3-0. I can't see that they have got a decent. But I think if we played in the right positions, and I would hope to see Di Maria possibly maybe start on the right, but like Darren said before, if he swaps positions back and forth, then we'll do quite well, particularly. So yeah, I hope to see either a Falcao goal or a Van Persie goal, because that's more than the moral victory of being able to get back on sort of a performance. Because surely those guys are stood around those in the training ground and going, these guys have got that potential. They're not really even potential in them two. They've got the experience and they've got the desire to score goals, and they could do it in training. But when you get down on there on a football pitch, it must be quite actually annoying if you're a Mata or if you're a Herrera, someone else who's been in the team pretty much most of the season, where you see them in training, you go, yes, we'll do what we can to get goals with this with Van Persie or Falcao, and it just doesn't happen for them. And then you think, you've got to be thinking, the relief that comes off a player when you've had a goal drought must be mental. And I'd love to see one of them score at the end of the week. So yeah, I'm going to end it here, guys. Hopefully we will do a review. I might actually possibly get Schrager to do some filming on Saturday after the game, as I go and see Mr. Jonathan Schrager for the boxing. And Pacquiao Mayweather, he'll not predict the winner of that one. It's either going to be one or the other. I'm not entirely sure what Joe said there, but he was putting in a prediction anyway. No, he's not. He's going to sit on the fence about that. Also wanted to notice, if you've ever been through the blog today, you will know a article written by Dale about Vote Football. Pretty easy campaign. It's the UK general elections at the moment. And Vote Football is a campaign by for all football clubs to send a pretty easy 2-minute job of sending your MP a letter that says that they will push for football reform if they get into government after May 7th. So yeah, if you could give it a quick 2-minute job, just pretty much go in there, put your postcode in, put the Support United to start with, put in your details. It takes 2 minutes, and there's even some Twitter links for you to go and harass them as well. I've always loved harassing MPs. Especially the ones that really do not want to be harassed around football issues when it's not really their party, shall we say.
David Cameron couldn't even get his football team right.
To be honest, it sounds really bad for the Conservatives, but I tweeted all my candidates, apart from UKIP, because UKIP decided that they weren't going to bother putting a Twitter account for their candidate. But I tweeted them, and the Conservatives were the last ones to come back to me, and I was like, they could swing votes. There's hundreds of thousands, there's not millions of football fans up and down the country, and it could swing votes in football reform, especially for the clubs that have seen really bad hardship, that have gone down. Blackpool, for instance, were a Premier League team 3-4 seasons back. Now look where they are. Wigan have just got relegated. They seem to have gone downhill after having Dave Whelan as chairman for so many years. So it's really a hard sort of time for football. And as United fans, we've had 10 years of the Glazers. So if we get a change of if we get a change of ownership in the next time, surely us as United fans should have a say in what goes on then. So yeah, that's my point for Vote Football. Website is www.votefootball.org. And get involved, guys. We will be back over the weekend, or if not, we will do a review next week. I would like to thank, I nearly forgot the names, Joe and Darren for joining me, and we will see you again shortly, guys, and let's hope for another United win on Saturday. Come on, Reds.